The flight to Orlando was packed. Twilly Spree felt lucky to score an aisle seat. The man and woman sharing the row told him they were going to Disney World for their honeymoon. At first, Twilly thought they were joking, the Magic Kingdom being as romantic as a food court. But it turned out the young couple wasn't kidding. Twilly felt bound to warn them that they were doomed to return to Disney every time their family expanded, the woman seeming to absorb this forecast with less cheer than her husband. They were a gregarious duo, however, with numerous questions about Florida in general. Was it safe? What about the alligators? When's the next space launch? Where's the best place to swim with a manatee? His patience soon sapped, Twilly faked an asthmatic episode and turned away to drag on a realistic-looking inhaler. It was a prop he carried at all times in public. Across the aisle sat an attractive woman in her early 40s, auburn hair pinned up. She was wearing tortoiseshell glasses and reading a New Yorker magazine, which made Twilly self-conscious about the USA Today on his lap. Seeing no wedding band on the woman's ring finger, he uncharacteristically made a stab at conversation. "Do you live in Orlando?" he asked, pocketing the mock inhaler. "Hush," she said firmly but gently, as if speaking to a child in church. She didn't look up from the article she was reading. Twilly wondered if she'd purchased the magazine on the trip or brought it from home. In any case, her surgical concentration on the contents was alluring. He folded his newspaper into the seat pocket and opened a book on his iPad. It was a biography of a poet he'd never heard of, a supposedly volcanic talent who remained obscure and unappreciated until his tragic death at age 32. Twilly assumed that the misunderstood soul had taken his own life, but it turned out that he'd perished in an electric skateboard accident after partying all night with Lululemon models. Death by suicide would have been a cliché, his biographer wrote solemnly in the foreword, and the rebellious young poet was a sworn enemy of clichés. Evidently, skating into the path of a Coors truck on the Pacific Coast Highway had certified the stature of his untamed genius. Twilly deleted the remainder of the book, having no idea how it had gotten downloaded in the first place. Perhaps the prankster had been Janine, back in happier times. The flight got bumpy, and the honeymooners clutched each other's hands. Twilly waited for the auburn-haired woman across the aisle to put down the magazine, which the plane's bouncing would have made impossible to read. After a time, she gave up trying, took off her glasses, and closed her eyes. "You okay?" Twilly asked. "What?" "I've got a Valium, if you need it." "Behave," the woman said, still with her eyes shut. The pilots were weaving around one of those towering mid-Florida thunderstorms. Twilly could see deep purple clouds through the aircraft's windows on one side, bright and deceiving sunshine through the other. "I think we're in a holding pattern," he said to the woman. "The plane, you mean?" "Yes, of course." A few minutes later, the woman said, "So I actually have your book." "Wow, which one?" "How to Let Happiness Find You." "And?" "Did nothing for me," the woman said. "Completely useless." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you working on a new one?" "No, I'm not." "Good," the woman said, putting her glasses back on. Twilly had never written a book, and had never heard of the one she was complaining about. Still, he was intrigued that she thought she recognized him from a photograph on a jacket flap, and without seeming to even glance in his direction. "I'm not qualified to do a self-help guide," he said. "No kidding." "Do you want your money back?" The woman sighed and said no. He liked her attitude. She wasn't going to smile, no matter what. "Was that albuterol?" she asked. "Sorry, what?" "Your inhaler." "Oh, right," Twilly said, patting his pocket. "For my asthma." "I had a husband who used that stuff. Kept him up all night." "That's when I do my best writing." "Maybe switch to cocaine," the woman said.